everyone, and welcome to Prepper Chicks After Dark. It is Tuesday, June the 3rd. It is our nighttime show. When the sun goes down, the weirdos come out. So that's why we're all here, gathered together. Shout out to the chat room. Looks like we have a full house tonight. Welcome, guys. Glad you're all here. And looking forward to some interesting conversations tonight. Hopefully we don't have to pull out the old banana, but we shall see. Back with us tonight, the tried, the true. Let's welcome Alika back. Yay!
Yay!
Thanks, Lori. I love you.
I'm going to get sound effects one of these days.
Oh, yeah, that would make my night. As always, I'm with SHTFready.com. We are a prepping website that shares ideas and helps each other learn and prepare. We are helping you be prepared with our shotgun raffle at bit.ly/SHTF-ready. We keep the politics out and we focus on prepping and survival. You all heard the ant and the grasshopper story? Our website teaches you to be the ant.
Hey, Alika, when's your shotgun raffle?
What's that?
When is your raffle for your shotgun?
We picked the winner on the 6th. 3 days.
3 days. You guys got to sign up. Awesome. Awesome to have you back. And with us, the one and only Geek Prepper.
What's up? Hey guys, Geek Prepper. We're over at www.geekprepper.org, and I'm not going to ask anymore. I'm going to demand that you come hang out because we have a very interactive Facebook group, and we are always just covering the stuff that no one else covers. So you got to come and check it out. Backpack giveaway. Everybody's really excited. We're giving away 3 backpacks, military surplus, and 1 non-military. So everybody in the Facebook's really hot for it. So you got to come check it out.
Awesome. Nice always to get free preps, you know. So, why are we here? We're here to play some Conflicted, a survival card game. What is that? It's a deck of 52 cards that you can physically hold in your hand and use them as tools within your preparedness group to open up some dialogue. All kinds of scenario-based what if are my morals and ethics going to stand up to this kind of questions. And we're going to play some of those cards tonight with our guests. Julie's been on the show before. She runs one heck of an awesome Facebook group. And what they do is they play Conflicted over there every single day. So if you're interested in that, you can go to my Facebook page, and I have the link directly there. But Julie's going to talk about that. Welcome back, Julie.
Hi, thanks. I actually just posted, I was posting the link on the chat room right there, the Facebook group. We do Conflicted. We've been doing it since they started out in the first one. And we have a really aggressive group.
Yeah, it can have some lively conversations in there. But really gets people talking, that's for sure.
And this week, possibly, we're going to be giving away a couple of naturopathic med kits for the prepper. We're going to give them to your site to see if anybody wants to win them and give us some feedback on how they work.
Awesome. Looking forward to it. Now, you had a little contest going on within your Facebook group, which brings us to our special guest tonight. So you want to talk about that a little bit and introduce your guest?
Yes, this is Nicole. She's one of the more bloodthirsty of the group. She won the contest. It was the most voted answer was the winner, and I believe, I can't remember what the answer was. Do you?
That you should kill yourself.
Oh, that's right.
That's always a good answer. What was the question?
You're walking behind you're with your friend, checking out the outskirts of your location, and you shot your friend in the head. You know, do you tell his wife or tell them that, somebody else shot him? And I said you should kill yourself because you were walking around with one in the chamber, finger on the trigger, safety off, with your gun pointed at your friend's head. So.
And everybody voted your answer. Everybody voted your answer the best. And
well, I don't know about everybody, but
You got the most votes.
Somebody had to be a smart, but so.
Well, now you get to sit here and be tortured by the rest of us, so.
That's fine.
Yeah.
All right. Are we ready to play some Conflicted?
Yes, ma'am.
Who has a question? Who has a card they want to play first?
I got it.
Go ahead.
The survivor group you belong to has lots of children. What are 3 essential life skills that every child should know in today's current society?
Ooh, good one. Good one. And we actually have Jane, Mom with the Prep, in the chat room, which is her forte. So maybe if you watch the chat room, she'll give out some great answers to help out with that. But, children, what do you think, Geek, 3 skills that you want your kids to know?
Fire building, food acquisition, and hiding. Or camouflage. Children are small and weak. They're going to be the obvious targets for the bad guys. So, it doesn't matter if they can, find food and cook it if they're dead. So they got to be able to hide. They got to, not be afraid to get in the down and dirty in the river or the stream or hide in the reeds or the mud. I mean, they got to have it.
Awesome. Some good answers there.
Oh, shucks.
What do you think, Alika? What do you think? What's 3 things you want your kids to know?
It follow the lines with Geek as far as the concealment, because I think I would use the children as scout recons. They're smaller, they make less noise, and it's easier to hide themselves versus, a 225-pound man. I just think they would be able to slip in, slip out if they needed to acquire goods and other things. They would have a more successful time getting the items. And then, of course, I would say fire building and foraging. I think that would be the easiest and best skills for them to learn.
Well, let me ask you, give me a curveball. Would it depend on where you're located at? Would that change your answers? So if you were farther north, or even a change of seasons, what if it was wintertime?
Well, I mean, with the appropriate camouflage, you can blend into anything. I don't think my answer would change on that.
Okay. All right. Julie, what would you say?
I would say first and foremost finding water and how to sterilize it or, make it drinkable, potable. That's the first one always. I would also say maybe making a shelter or somewhere to hold up if they're lost. How to hide out, escape and evade, and how to stay in place so we can find them if they're lost. I have a 12-year-old that can do just about all of this stuff, but
awesome.
He's cocky and doesn't pay attention, and I kind of worry about it because I'm a firm believer in starting them young.
How young do you think a child can be in order to start teaching these kind of things?
I start my son on CPR and first aid at 6. But medical is my forte, so, but they've always learned they started building fires young. They were in Boy Scouts at a little tiny age, and we've been camping since they were teeny. So, I don't know, I guess it depends.
On their maturity and all of that loveliness?
Yes, ma'am.
Nicole, what do you think? Anything you want to add to that list going on?
Yeah, everybody kind of covered it. Definitely how to build a fire. Obviously, it's got to be age appropriate. We don't need 2-year-olds building fires. But how to build a fire, how to, like Julie said, how to make water drinkable. Those are the most important things for them to stay alive. And I would say self-defense, which could include hiding, which could include, how to stab somebody, how to shoot a gun. We've started teaching our children, gun safety and shooting at very young ages. At 6, I think, was the youngest. So, that will also include, that being able to hunt as well. So, that covers a lot of your basics right there, in my opinion.
All right. Anybody want to add anything different? I'm going through the chat room here to see what they have.
I have to say, my son, he's 12. He's not quite... I wouldn't trust him with a 22 yet. He tends to be kind of scattered, and you'd say something, flip around and point the muzzle at you. But he's been shooting a bow since he was about 6 years old, and he's better off than most of us. So.
Yeah. I learned young too, and I think the younger they learn, the more respect they have for it, instead of the fear that you see in a lot of kids.
Yeah.
That
and it all depends on the individual child too. Some children, my one daughter, I wouldn't trust a gun with if my life depended on it, because she'd probably kill me. But my older one, she's a little psychotic. But my older one is, very steady and calm-headed. So it all depends on the kid individually.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Good answers. Okay, I'm going to throw out the next question. And this was actually emailed to me earlier today. So anybody listening, if they want us to play a scenario, just send me an email at prepperchicks@yahoo.com. But this comes from Marco. And hopefully Marco's in the chat room, so we'll give a big hi out to him. But here's this question. In the event of a mass human die-off from an event, many pet dogs will be homeless, and in time will learn to eat human flesh from the dead, and will quickly form huge dog packs and start hunting the remaining yummy humans. I miss Chris at this time. But how would you defend yourself and the family from a pack of 15 plus big dogs without using your precious and limited ammo? All right. So, shit hit the fan. You've got all these packs of dogs roaming wild, and you need to disperse of them before they eat your family. How would you go about that without using ammo? Geek, what do you think?
I would say spears or arrows. I mean, honestly, I'm already thinking about eating dogs. I mean, maybe not today, but that's going to be a huge problem. That's going to be a huge source of meat. So we're going to be eating the dog. So, spears, old school, bow and arrow, crossbow, even, large rock or traps. We'll make sure there's very few dogs in our area.
Well, some countries eat dogs on a regular basis, and they're
wait.
Still alive.
I'm excited about it.
You don't eat my dogs, though. But, okay, so some spears and some bow and arrows and along that line? Okay.
Yep, traps.
Julie, what do you think?
I don't know if I can tell you on on the radio. I would set up snares and traps around the property, so if something came on the property that isn't we aren't aware of, that it would get snared. We have chickens and rabbits and stuff like that, so that sort of thing is kind of a given.
Now, somebody mentioned antifreeze in the chat room. Would you poison them, or would you use some kind of clean way to bring them down?
I would be cleaner, because you can't eat them once they're poisoned, and if you're in that kind of relationship or that kind of situation, you're not going to want to waste your resources.
What if there's just so many that you're not sure if you're going to be able to handle them with trying a clean kill?
I would go hunting. I would start making specific forays to go out and find their den or clean them out at the source.
Okay, so you'd be proactive. Awesome.
Yeah.
Aliko, what do you think?
Well, first off, you're not a real prepper if you haven't already claimed what part of the pet you would eat. Your pet you would eat if shit hits the fan. But
wait, our own pets?
Yeah, I already told my wife what part of my dog I would eat if it really got down to it.
I don't know if I could eat my dog.
Oh yeah.
No. Maybe the rabbit, but not the dog.
The rabbits, yeah, that's a given. But my dog, Dixon, oh my goodness. I'm like his human. I don't know. I really don't think I could do that. I'd have to
like
be.
Your babies.
Yeah.
My dog's asking for it.
Yeah, exactly.
What are you sitting there begging? Eat me.
My cheese on the carpet. He's the first to go.
He's got a big old sign around his neck that says, "Eat me."
Keep the one that you like and get rid of the jerk dog.
Yeah.
Okay.
We had that with our horses, but we figured if you can't feed them in the winter, then you can eat them later.
Oh, man. Okay, back to Lika. So.
No, there's a lot of potential. Those are roving meals on wheels, so to speak. So I would definitely, try and trap them for the meat. And everything tastes good with Tabasco on it, so I would go all out. But
stock up on hot sauce.
Exactly, Louisiana hot sauce. There you go. No, but in my preps, I don't just rely on ammo and all my firearms. I'm looking at crossbows and compound bows and other ways of taking out game without firing a single shot. So I would apply that to the dogs as well. Booby traps, pits, snare traps, all that good stuff. And if it got down to where it was just too many dogs, then I would resort to, poisoning them like with the antifreeze. And I mean, you could still utilize the dog for, skins and other types of hides or whatever you want to do with the animal. It doesn't necessarily have to go to waste, even though they're poisoned. So, I mean, that's just what I would do with them.
I'm still, all right. So Nicole, what would you do?
Probably would use, spears, things like that as well, but one thing that you could do is also set up some deterrents and some barriers around your property, things that dogs hate. And, anything with big thorns on it is going to help you. Setting up traps around the property. We have a lot of area where we plan on being that is wide open that you could easily dig holes and they would very easily go into and never get out. So, that's something that I wouldn't put past, doing and probably doing in advance. So we wouldn't even have to think about it in the future. But, I came across a little plant that at our area called stinging nettle and learned how horrible this is. So I'm hoping that will, deter some of the dogs, because I know ours hate it.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I have a Great Pyrenees, and he would just plow right through it. I don't think anything would stop him. Jules is asking about, could you use him to plow fields with? Dixon, you could. He's a horse. He actually has his own bug out bag. So, but somebody brought up in the chat room, and it's scrolling too fast, so I can't catch who did it. But when you're looking at killing them, I mean, you're going to have a lot of wasted meat if you're looking at that. So they mentioned something like a tennis court that's enclosed and setting a trap and corralling them, and then picking them off when you need them.
If they're that feral, though, they'll get out of something like that. You're not going to have the supplies for that. Think about that. Like the real wild dogs.
Well, they're not. They still used to be someone's pets, though. So would they be as feral as wild dogs that you would find in the wild? Do you think?
If they're eating humans, probably.
In a pack, they change their mentality.
Yeah, they're going to change their mentality. I mean, they're going to go from your loving little, puppy to, Cujo in like a second.
Well, I want to know what GMO dog food they were eating to say, screw this, I'm not eating this, I'm going to start chomping down on humans.
Is there anything that you would look for specifically, and I'll open this to the whole group, anything you would look for specifically that would cause you not to eat them?
Well, check for rabies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what would you look for?
Maybe we shouldn't eat the dogs.
Well, what would you look for and how would you dispose of them?
Well, obviously foaming of the mouth. And then shouldn't you burn them?
Yeah, or bury them.
Yeah. Away from your property.
Eddie brings up a good topic, mange. That's
yeah.
mange. You gotta put them down quick.
Okay, so anybody out there listening, what is mange and what are you looking for?
Mange is a microscopic, like a little animal. It's teeny. And it spreads from dog to dog and possibly dog to cat, but humans can't get it. And it's easily cured. You can put like tea tree oil on it or lavender oil and that kills it off.
Awesome. Good information. Okay, before we wrap this one up, anyone want to add anything else? Okay. Julie, you got a good question?
I don't know how good it is, but let me see. It says your group managed to survive a catastrophic event. In fact, you're thriving. The group has many individuals with essential talents that have helped the group become successful. However, one day your only gunsmith, blacksmith, let slip that he was once convicted of child molestation. He's never given the group any hint of his past until now and has in fact been a core and valued member of the group. Do you forget his past and hope that his tendencies don't emerge again, or do you expel him from the group and lose his skill set?
Ooh, rough question. So, it's been down grid for a while, and everybody's gotten comfortable, and you find out your only gunsmith used to be a child molester. What are you going to do with him? Geek, what do you think?
Trust but verify. I mean, if he's made it this long without any of his tendencies showing up, I mean, oh yeah, great. Maybe you're reformed, maybe you got a handle on it. I would let others know. I guess there'd be a vote. But I would be for keeping him with the knowledge that I'm not afraid to tell him if, you start fiddling with the kids, I'm going to kill you. I mean, right? I mean, keep him separate,
How do you know he hasn't done it already?
Mm-hmm.
I would break out my puppet and say, has anyone been touched here by this man?
What?
I'm a nurturer. I can tell these things, right?
Okay, so you would keep him around, keep him secluded, and pray like hell that he doesn't do anything.
We would definitely adjust his living arrangement, where he sleeps, where he's able to go. I mean, I think his life is worth more than his sexual addiction, right?
I don't know. Nicole, what do you think?
Can I chime in? Because I've got something to say.
There you go.
I actually got into a fight with somebody about this in the group. Here's the thing. People who are sexual predators, unless they go through very intense counseling and, are on meds and this and that, they will never stop doing what they do. And that is a proven fact. Especially in that kind of scenario, he's not going to stop because now there's no women either, or very few. So, as a mother, I can say he would either be banished or killed on the spot.
Okay.
Because,
let me ask
and
you
I don't care what his skills are, because there's no child that is worth those skills.
Nicole, let me ask you a question. Would you banish him and risk not knowing where he's at, or keep him secluded knowing where he's at?
I wouldn't keep him secluded. I wouldn't keep somebody like that. I would either banish them, or you would be dead.
Well, how would you trust that he actually leaves and doesn't sneak back?
That's the thing. I don't know if I could even just let him go. I mean, it would depend if, you'd have to kind of see what the reaction is. If he's like, okay, fine, I'll go. But if he's leaving angry, you know what's going to happen. You know they're going to come back if they're angry.
Every time.
So it's going to be kind of see what their reaction is, but I would not keep somebody in that group, especially if they have children, if you have children with you. If you don't have any children with you, maybe I wouldn't worry about it as much. I probably would hate him and keep him secluded, but if you have kids in that group, you got to get them away from them. Period. If any of you now had kids around somebody like that living next door, what would you do? Would you be cool with that? No. Never. Right?
Julie, what would you add? What would you do?
I'm still laughing about the puppet.
We all remember the puppets from grade school.
That's right.
I could so totally imagine that.
Did touch you here?
My confliction with this is that I would have to ask him what actually happened when he was convicted, because convicted means that it was proven to the degree that everybody believed it. But a child molester can be an 18-year-old dating a 17-year-old. And, lots of things happen. It doesn't make it necessarily what I would consider child molestation, maybe poor choices. That being said, my son we taught him to escape at an early age, and he got away from two guys that tried to kidnap him. And my alternative thinking with that is a very visceral one. I don't know if the guy would want to be there after he said that, because everybody would be looking at him and treating him differently and maybe avoiding him. But my thought is I couldn't take the chance, because even if he did it and you gave him a chance and he did it, you've ruined somebody's life. And children are the future. And if they get molested in a really hardship type of scenario on top of everything, what kind of adult are they going to be? So I'd probably shoot him.
Well, let me ask you guys this. In a downgrade situation, do you think the chances of or your child being molested is going to increase significantly?
Yes.
Why?
Because there is no quote-unquote law. If we're thinking of complete anarchy, if you're thinking of economic downfall or something like that, where there's still some sort of right versus wrong situation and backup, then probably not as much. But most of these scenarios think of total collapse where you're living in groups. And I think that the people turn feral just like animals do.
Yeah, they will, big time. It's been proven over and over and over again in any kind of downgrade situation. But the funny thing is with this question that this child molester, and Jules brings this up in the chat room, is, this is your gunsmith. You're giving him guns to work on, your means of protecting yourself. What if we change it and this guy is now the only physician that you have in the group? Would it change your answer? Alika, what do you think?
Regardless of if he's a gunsmith or my doctor, I mean, these are two, very important skills. You would have to keep them around, even if you had kids running around. But, like Jules said in the chat room, you're going to need somebody on him 24/7 and know that all the adults that are in that compound, hey, this guy likes to diddle kids. We need to keep an eye on him, but we're not gonna, give him we're not gonna ostracize him or give him a scarlet letter and shun him or whatever. We're just, we're gonna tell the kids, all right, you don't hang around, Todd over there. He's busy with, the weapons and, or helping fix people or whatever. And just leave them alone, don't talk to them type thing. And, you don't necessarily have to tell the kids that, gotta watch out for the boogeyman over there. But it's just, these skills are really sought after. I would think it'd be foolish to just get rid of them, by shunning him or kicking him out of the compound or putting a bullet in his head. It's just, it wouldn't make any sense. Now, granted, if somebody did catch him, then we'd I would institute swift justice, but I mean, overall, that skill is still way too desirable, and I would have to take chances to put every precaution in it to prevent him from doing something. But me personally, in that type of environment, I would think the will to survive would overtake his horniness level. I don't know how you want to put that, his sexual desires, and I would have to go off of that.
Well, if he was a gunsmith, it would be one thing, but as a physician, though, you're also trusting him that he gives you the correct diagnosis and medication. All I can think of is the scene in Revolution, where the chick had the bottle of medicine that had poison in it, and she was sharing it. I could see something like that happening.
Yeah, but I mean, that's the whole where you practice caution around him. He knows that people are watching him, but yet he still feels a part of the group. And if you do ostracize him, he was like, oh, screw it, I'm going to kill all the adults and take the children under my wing and have my way with them. There's going to be a fine balance of psychological chess pieces and political maneuvering to get this guy on your side, but still watching him and having everybody else watch him without making him feel creeped out, so to speak.
I'm going to call bull shrimp on that one, because, I mean, you're tiptoeing around a guy who has an issue. You're giving him more power because of illness or whatever, and giving him permission that, okay, we accept that because we want your skills. And he's going to take that, if he's a certain type, and step out and say, okay, well, you know what? If I can't do this, I'm not going to fix your gun. Or if I don't do this, I'm going to do whatever. And if it's a doc, I'm not taking my clothes off in front of him. I don't care who you are. I would never go for him for help. You'd creep me out. Sorry.
Yeah, no, your points are valid, but I think, we're thinking in a nice, calm society right now where if we are sick or get the sniffles, we can go to urgent care or go to the doctor. But, is this guy...
Well, how do you know that they don't have something in their background or some kind of fetish? You're trusting them.
Really, when the grid goes down and the society collapses, a man's or woman's word is, you're going to have to take it at its face value. There's nothing you can do.
That court goes down.
Say that again.
I think you need to figure that out before it goes down.
Well, yeah, you got to take precautions, but what's to say some warring compound or faction from the other side of the state, or 2 towns over, decides to come and try and invade your camp and kills half of your crew, and this child molester / doctor or gunsmith comes through and says he can do this and proves himself worthy. What do you do then?
I don't know.
Yeah, there's a lot of what if scenarios.
Yeah.
There's a whole proverb about a guy who found a snake on the road, and he went and fixed it up. He brought it into the house, and he fixed it up, and he fed it, and he got it healthy, and one day it bit him, and as he was dying, he asked the snake, I was being nice to you, why did you bite me? And it says, you knew I was a snake when you brought me in your house.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but...
Oh, snap.
Well, I think we all can agree, too, depending on how bad it is at the time. Is it wasted manpower just keeping an eye on this guy? Or do you need these guys someplace else protecting your group? But Top Knot asked in the group, what if the person that confesses, or if you find out that this person happens to be your husband?
It happens to be your husband?
Well, not mine specifically, but, your husband or your spouse. Let's leave it at your spouse. So
you didn't know your spouse was a child molester?
Yeah.
You have bigger problems than that. I mean, if you really didn't know, but like, you didn't know? I mean, does nobody check out their spouses? We're just marrying people off the street now?
Well,
I like to do it.
You know what I mean?
In that aspect, you could also, you can't really go on that because there's been marriages for 10, 15 years, and all of a sudden the husband or the wife is like, hey, I like the same sex now, So it's a possibility. It's a possibility that you may never know he or she is a sex freak.
Sex freak.
Wow.
Like eighth
I don't think I would make it in our group.
I mean, there's people who are married to serial killers and didn't find out until years later. So you don't ever entirely know somebody.
Not till you divorce them. That's my theme. You never know anyone truly until you divorce them.
That is the truth, sister.
All right, next question. In your opinion, what event or series of events will lead to the end of the world as we know it? In your opinion. Nicole, what do you think?
I believe we're looking at a financial collapse followed by martial law and just total destruction of civilization. Either that or we're very close to a civil war. It's just my opinion.
All right. Julie, what do you think? What's going to bring it down?
Probably financial. I think there's going to be a financial collapse. I don't think it'll ever get like zombie apocalypse, but I think there might be some martial law involved. I think the government's actually trying to force us to fire the first shot now. Mm-hmm. But that's what I think.
We've seen some interesting diseases coming around here recently. You don't think they throw something out there at us to cause chaos?
I think it's all entirely possible. That's all part of their trying to get us to react.
And they like to do that, don't they?
I think so, yeah.
Geek, what do you think? What do you think is going to bring it?
I actually agree on the Civil War thing, and I mean, they're definitely trying to get us to fire that first shot. I mean, look at the media programming. You got shows like, Tyrant and, Revolution. I mean, every themed movie and show out now is about, fighting back against some kind of government. I mean, they're working with the media to do it. So, if not, then, go ahead.
Do you think the issue with the Bundy Ranch, was just a test to see how people would react?
I think it ended up being a test. Whether or not it was orchestrated from the beginning, maybe. I mean, you just don't understand the strings these people can pull. It's incredible. But yeah, they want us to fire the first shot so they can justify the militarization of the police and all the armored vehicles and SWAT teams and using the military against us. So that, our financial collapse, EMP.
I just put a story up yesterday or today. It was, as many of you know, if you're following, the military, they're shipping some of the armed vehicles back over, supposedly from Afghanistan and overseas that they've been using. Some little freaking 11,000 person population town that I grew up near in Ohio now has an armored vehicle at the police disposal. And I just find that just unbelievable. They can't afford the gas or the upkeep for this thing, but they have an armored vehicle that they have no training for. And I've seen a ton of communities within the United States get these kind of warfare going on. Tools to use against, who knows, whoever they choose to.
Well, if they have no training, then, it wouldn't be that hard to take them away from them.
No, very good point. That's for sure.
As far as the police towns, or the small towns getting these military vehicles, I agree we're outfitting our police to be basically paramilitary groups. But on the other hand, I can almost see why these guys are getting it, because wouldn't we be bitching and yelling at the government for spending, because an MRAP costs a couple of $100,000 to build and maintain. Wouldn't we be pissed off as Americans finding out that we, blew $4, $5, $6, $10 billion on these vehicles, only to bury them in a pit in the middle of nowhere, Afghanistan, or burn them and make them inoperable? I think this is the government's try at reusing something that's already been created.
And you're not alarmed that they're putting him out there just with any kind of police force? These guys got it for free. It was some kind of federal grant they applied for.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm with you. I don't think they should get it, but I'm just trying to play devil's advocate here, and I think we would be yelling and hooting and hollering, saying, "Why are we leaving all these vehicles there? We spent so much money and blah 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 to just destroy them and not use them or utilize them for something else."
They should just send them all to like Chicago or Detroit and just fix a few cities out there instead of just giving them to whoever.
Yeah,
but definitely interesting. So, Alika, what do you think? What do you think is going to create havoc in the country?
I think a mass natural disaster, like we saw how fast Katrina went down the toilet. When we're looking at several states, or hell, the entire country being hit at one time with a super volcano earthquake, whatever you want to throw out that, the government services and police force will be overwhelmed, and I think the public would quickly revert to Lord of the Flies type thing, and it would look like Katrina tenfold.
Sorry, give me a minute. I'm concerned about Jimmy's chicken. Long story.
What? I want some of that.
No, don't worry about it. Moving along. Okay. So, any other ideas, any thoughts out there? It looks like the economy seems to be the biggest thing that people are looking for and looking at.
I don't think it can hold up for much longer. How has this lasted this long?
Well, because our government just prints money when they need it.
Yeah, but it's not worth anything.
Yeah, well, they're the only ones that haven't figured that out yet. So, besides your first choice, is there anything else that you're looking at specifically or preparing for?
Ooh.
Or is it just focus on the economy?
We kind of prepare for everything. I mean, whether it's, your electricity going out for a day due to a storm, or, the shit hits the fan and you have to, leave your home because everyone's gone crazy. I mean, it's a good idea to kind of prepare for everything and not just one thing.
Well, how do you think people get
one thing?
Yeah, but and this is for all the newbie preppers that might be listening. When you say that, though, they kind of go, "Oh my goodness, I have to prepare for everything."
Well, when you actually start preparing, you realize that as you're preparing, it kind of covers everything. You're going to have, your lights, your food, this and that. It's going to cover for one day. You need to build up and up and up so that you keep going, but you don't want to just prepare for a pandemic or something like that, because that's all you're going to be focused on, or just focusing on, financial collapse. A lot of these things when we prepare, we're preparing for all of these things at one time. We just don't realize it. You can focus on whatever you want, but you really are preparing for everything.
Yeah. And once you get started, it pretty much, like you said, covers a plethora of events out there.
Well, I got an easier, the method I use when people ask me and they find out that I prep and whatnot, and it's like, what do you prep for? And I tell them, what I prep for, but I tell them the easiest way to prep for whatever you think might happen is prepare for the zombie apocalypse. If you're prepared for something as stupid and asinine as that, you could be prepared for the littlest thing as a flood or a forest fire. Kind of puts it in retrospect, and you see the light bulb click above their head. I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
Well, I think one of the first mistakes people do is they just don't sit down and evaluate what could affect them in their area. I wouldn't prep for a forest fire in like, I don't know, in the middle of the desert in Arizona, or a hurricane, either one.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's I just use that to get them thinking of exactly what is in the area, get them, and if they're serious, they'll start asking more questions, and I kind of use it to fill them out too, as far as how much I actually want to share.
Right. Right. The chat room has just rolled out of control. And they talk about
all over a chicken.
Yeah, all over a chicken.
Oh, yeah, it has.
Nicole, do you have a card you want to play?
I saw that one.
Yeah, leave the chat room alone. They're in their own little world right now. So, Nicole, do you have a card that you want to play?
Yeah, I'm probably not reading exactly from the card, so forgive me. So, the government will give you free food, but you have to give them the names of 3 survivalists that you know. But this will result in all of their food being confiscated. Would you give the names out of the 3 survivalists or not, and why?
Okay. So what would you do specifically? Would you give up?
Me?
Uh-huh.
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't give up the names. I wouldn't want somebody doing it to me, and I wouldn't do it to them. Those people prepared. I wouldn't do it, but I'm prepared. I don't need free food from the government because I know how to grow my own. So I'm not as concerned about that personally. But if I didn't have any food, I still wouldn't do it.
What if your kids getting fed depend upon it?
I'd find a different way. I'd go talk to the survivalists that I know. If I know their names, I'd go talk to them. Say, look, I need help. Instead of giving out your name. And that's what I would do. There's no way I would turn out another prepper.
Do you think it's important to begin those relationships now before something would happen?
Absolutely. And you need to know people in your area that are prepping and, talk to them about it. If they're not, and you don't really want to talk to them about it, there's subtle ways.
Well, I was going to say, now you're treading into that whole, oh my goodness, we have to abide by OPSEC scenario. Mm-hmm. So how do you get around that?
I don't know. It's just, you have to think about, telling people that you would trust and being very careful with it. You don't want to tell too many people what you have. If I do tell people what I have, they have no idea the extent.
So don't show your whole hand.
I keep some of my cards hidden. I talk to mostly very close family and friends. I did.
Like the chat room.
What?
I said, and everybody in our group.
Yeah, but you guys don't know me personally. You don't know where I live. I've never given any of my address.
Well, I guess I should have told you guys the NSA listens in on our conversations, so
we're probably already all on that list. So
I would hope so.
I mean, I was hoping that they would actually release the list of the people who are spying on. My husband was excited that he might be on it. But no, I mean, you have to be really careful, and just, ease your way into that conversation. And observe the people that you're going to tell before you tell them. And see how they respond to these types of things. I keep it, within my group here and where I live, between pretty much my family. And that's about it. And then we bought a little piece of property a little farther away from here. And there's one couple that lives down there. And I did bring it up to her as kind of why we were bought it down there. And I found out that she's prepping too.
Do you ever?
Now is very excited that we're down there so that we can all work together.
Awesome. Do you ever stalk people in the grocery store and check out their carts? And
no, I hate the grocery store and I want to get the hell out of there.
My husband, bless his little heart, he'll go around, he goes, go check out that cart over there. What do you think? Do you think they're preppers? It's like, really, Eddie? But, Julie, what do you think? What do you do? Would you give up 3 of your comrades?
Nope, I wouldn't. I don't actually know 3 people that prep around here. So, I couldn't give up anybody. So.
Just because you don't know them.
I just don't know them, yeah. I live far enough up that I don't have a lot of neighbors. My direct neighbors are probably as close as I could get to preppers, and none of us talk to each other anyway. They're all like ex-special forces and stuff, and they all lurk around in their houses and don't come outside, so, I wouldn't have any names to give, but even if I did, I wouldn't. You're supposed to band together it's us against them.
Any suggestions that you have for opening conversations with neighbors?
Not unless they're shooting. But by then, I suppose that's too late at that point. I actually have a really big garden, and I just bring chickens, and I bring stuff over and drop it off on their porch all the time. And nobody ever says anything, but I always get the cartons back on my porch when they need more. So I suppose that's our opening soiree right there.
Gotcha. Geek, would you give up 3 of your comrades? Would you give up Julie, Alika, and Nicole if you had to?
I would not give up anyone. Now, I'm assuming I won't need food, but if I was in a pickle, what about giving up 3 people that aren't preppers that you really don't like? I mean, I know that's shitty and all, but you know what? Maybe it's people who are, kind of mess with my resources and my environment. Like, yeah, my neighbor next door, he's noisy, but he's a prepper. Get him.
Trust me, he's got it buried. You'll never find it.
That's right. It's buried underneath his garage. Run those power tools all night, buddy.
Any conversation starters that you would suggest?
Oh, you know what? I have not had really good luck with that. I've asked a couple people, and they're, every once in a while I get someone's like, yeah, I've been putting a little something away, a little something. But it's sad that so many people are like just media slaves. They're like, oh, what are you ever going to need food for? I'm like, you ever change jobs and they held a paycheck for 2 weeks? That's kind of a shitty thing, right? It's nice to have that, I don't have a paycheck, but I got food. I mean, that's kind of, refreshing for the children to be able to eat while you're waiting for your paycheck. They like that.
But you still get that blank stare, don't you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I had somebody at work found out about my blog. And so now they're like, oh, you a doomsday prepper? I'm like, what the hell's a doomsday prepper? I'm a Boy Scout, be prepared.
We have patches for our vests. All the events that we've survived in the last 20 years.
Oh, wow. That's pretty cool.
I was joking, by the way.
Oh, shit. You're not as cool as I thought you were. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I've threatened to do that. Okay, we've survived Y2K. We've survived the Mayan end of the world shit. All the meteor showers. I mean, geez, probably in the last 10 years we've had 14 of those. Think about how much stuff we have survived that people have freaked out about. So yeah. Alika, what do you think? Would you give up 3 people?
Yeah, if I was desperate for food, I would give up 3 imaginary people. I mean, the government official, he wouldn't know where I lived. I would just get into the line of the town. Where do you live? Oh, 2 towns over that mountain ridge. And tell them, yeah, Bob, Cindy and Jan they're preppers. They all live on my street. And then slink off into the darkness and never come back. I mean, what are they going to do? They can't check. They can't put up their computer and check if my story is true or not. But and then I would definitely never give up actual people that I know are prepping. But I would assume somebody would give me up, and I would take great lengths to make sure my stockpiles are well hidden in various caches and rooms that are away from my house. I'll have a simple stock in the house for, everyday stuff, but I'll have food pretty much everywhere on my property.
How are you going to hide the food all over your property? What suggestions would you make?
Simple watertight caches, Tupperware not Tupperware containers, but the Rubbermaid containers. You can make your own with PVC pipe and that plumber's glue. There's a lot of ways you can do it. Dig a hole, a few garbage bags, and burlap, and whatever to block the bugs and the elements out, and you're golden. It's just a matter of hiding that sucker and being able to get it back later in one piece.
Any suggestions for opening conversations up with people?
Really, I haven't had good experience. I've shared this before. In my work, I've known a guy almost 30 years, and I didn't know he was a full blown prepper.
He's good.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like we wear patches or shirts to say, "Hey, I'm a prepper. Ask me how to become one," or something. It's just a matter of. I would like to assume now that I have my ears are much more, they perk up to certain words and how they speak politically, and, when they say I have something, I got food squirreled away for this or that, okay, he's probably a prepper, and then I can start throwing some questions out, but, my record right now hasn't been really good.
Yeah.
And I've yet to come across anybody that, is saying some key words to me that I'm like, oh,
do you think a lot more people are tightening up?
Tightening.
OPSEC. That's why you're not getting much success with it.
Well, yes and no, but it still goes back to, hey, are you a prepper? I'm a prepper. Let's talk about prepping. It's just when it comes up, it comes up.
Yeah, well, it's hard to trust people nowadays.
Exactly.
But we're down to the last minute. Ladies, Julie and Nicole, I want to thank you guys for being here with us tonight.